Welcome to Infinite Audiobook, the place where ideas never sleep and books come to life. Hit that subscribe button and let's start. Title: Deep Work. Introduction: The Age of Distraction. We live in a time where attention is fragmented, multitasking is glorified, and the ability to concentrate deeply is increasingly rare. Notifications, emails, social media, and open office environments have created a culture where shallow work dominates. In Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World, Cal Newport makes a compelling case that the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks is not just a productivity hack, it's a superpower. Newport defines deep work as the ability to engage in professional activities in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. This kind of work creates new value, improves skill, and is hard to replicate. In contrast, shallow work consists of tasks that are non-demanding, often performed while distracted, and easy to replicate, like answering emails or attending status meetings. In this expanded summary, we'll explore Newport's philosophy, the 4 rules he proposes, and how creators like you can apply these principles to build a life of depth, mastery, and meaning. Part 1. Understanding Deep Work. What is deep work? Deep work is the antidote to the noise of modern life. It's the kind of work that requires full concentration, stretches your mental capacity, and leads to high-quality results. Newport argues that deep work is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy, yet increasingly rare. He identifies 2 core abilities that will determine success in the knowledge economy: the ability to quickly master hard things, the ability to produce at an elite level, in terms of both quality and speed. Both of these require deep work. Why is deep work valuable? Scarcity. Most people are losing the ability to concentrate deeply. This makes deep workers rare and valuable. Meaning, deep work is inherently satisfying. It creates a sense of purpose and flow. Skill development. It's the fastest way to learn complex things and improve your craft. Newport draws on examples from Carl Jung, who built a stone tower in the woods to escape distraction, and Bill Gates, who famously retreats for think weeks to read and reflect. These figures understood that solitude and focus are essential for breakthrough thinking. Part 2. The problem: Shallow work culture. The rise of shallow work. Shallow work is seductive. It feels productive. You're answering emails, attending meetings, updating spreadsheets. But it rarely moves the needle. Newport warns that shallow work is like sugar. It gives a quick hit of satisfaction, but lacks nutritional value. He critiques the modern workplace for open office designs that encourage constant interruption, always-on communication that fragments attention, social media addiction that erodes focus and self-discipline. The result: a generation of knowledge workers who are busy but not productive. Newport calls this the metric black hole. We measure hours worked, emails sent, and meetings attended, but not the depth or value of our output. Part 3. The 4 rules of deep work. Newport offers 4 actionable rules to cultivate deep work in your life. Rule number 1. Work deeply. Build rituals. Deep work doesn't happen by accident. You need structure. Newport recommends creating rituals around your deep work sessions. Where you'll work. For how long. How you'll work, e.g. no internet, Pomodoro technique. How you'll support your focus, e.g. coffee, music, walking breaks. Example: a writer might block 8 to 11 a.m. every day for uninterrupted writing in a quiet room, with no phone or internet. Make grand gestures. Sometimes dramatic actions can boost your commitment. Newport cites examples like J.K. Rowling renting a hotel suite to finish Harry Potter, Bill Gates isolating himself for think weeks. These gestures signal to your brain that the work matters. Embrace boredom. We've trained ourselves to reach for our phones the moment we feel bored. Newport argues that boredom is essential for deep work. It's in those quiet moments that ideas incubate. Practice. Resist the urge to check your phone during idle moments. Schedule breaks from focus, not from distraction. Rule number 2. Embrace boredom. Attention is a muscle. Just like physical fitness, attention requires training. Newport suggests productive meditation. Use walking or shower time to mentally work through problems. Focus training. Set a timer and work on a single task. Gradually increase the time. Schedule distraction. Instead of trying to eliminate distraction entirely, schedule it. For example, check email only at 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. Use apps like Freedom or Cold Turkey to block social media during work hours. This trains your brain to tolerate boredom and resist impulsive task switching. Rule number 3. Quit social media. The craftsman approach. Newport doesn't advocate quitting all social media. Instead, he recommends a craftsman approach. Identify your core goals. Evaluate each tool based on its ability to support those goals. Quit platforms that don't offer substantial benefits. Ask yourself, does this tool help me grow my audience meaningfully? Does it foster genuine connection or shallow engagement? Is it worth the time and cognitive cost? Attention is finite. Every minute spent scrolling is a minute not spent creating. Newport reminds us that attention is a zero-sum game. Protect it fiercely. Rule number 4. Drain the shallows. Time audit. Track how you spend your time. Identify shallow tasks and minimize them. Newport recommends categorizing tasks as deep or shallow, estimating how much time you spend on each, setting quotas for shallow work, e.g., no more than 4 hours per day. Schedule every minute. Use time blocking to plan your day. This doesn't mean rigid scheduling, it means intentionality. Leave room for flexibility, but avoid reactive work. Example, 8 to 9:30 a.m., scriptwriting, deep work. 9:30 to 10 a.m., email, shallow work. 10 to 12 p.m., thumbnail design, deep work. Say no more often. Protect your time by declining low-value commitments. Newport encourages using a fixed schedule productivity mindset, letting your calendar dictate your availability, prioritizing depth over accessibility. Part 4. The Deep Life. Newport closes the book with a philosophical reflection. Deep work isn't just a productivity strategy, it's a way of life. Depth versus distraction. A life of depth is one where you prioritize meaningful work, intentional relationships, and personal growth. It's about choosing quality over quantity, focus over frenzy, flow and fulfillment. Deep work leads to flow, the psychological state where you're fully immersed in a task. Flow is intrinsically rewarding. It's where mastery and joy intersect. Newport argues that deep work is the key to professional success. You become irreplaceable. Personal fulfillment. You feel purposeful and engaged. Creative excellence. You produce work that resonates. Part 5. Applying deep work to creative life. For creators like you, Chinmoy, deep work isn't optional, it's essential. Here's how to apply Newport's principles to your infinite audiobook journey. 1. Scriptwriting is deep work. Block out distraction-free time for writing. Use rituals. Same time, same place, same tools. Embrace boredom. Let ideas simmer before scripting. Avoid multitasking while writing. One idea, one flow. 2. Thumbnail design with intent. Treat visual design as a craft, not a chore. Iterate with focus. Don't rush the process. Use deep work sessions to explore color, layout, and emotion. 3. Audience engagement with depth. Create prompts that spark reflection, not just clicks. Build community features that encourage meaningful interaction. Avoid shallow engagement metrics. Focus on resonance. 4. Content strategy with purpose. Prioritize fewer, higher quality videos. Use time blocking to plan production cycles. Say no to distractions that dilute your creative energy. Firecracker the problem. Shallow work culture. From busyness to meaninglessness, why we're losing the ability to think deeply. In Deep Work, Cal Newport doesn't just introduce a productivity concept. He diagnoses a cultural epidemic. The modern workplace, he argues, is dominated by shallow work. Tasks that are easy to replicate, require little concentration, and often masquerade as productivity. These include emails, meetings, status updates, and social media interactions. They feel urgent, but they rarely move the needle. This section of the book is a wake-up call. Newport invites us to look beyond our calendars and to-do lists and ask, are we actually doing meaningful work, or just staying busy? Let's unpack this problem in depth. Chart decreasing. What is shallow work? Newport defines shallow work as non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style tasks, often performed while distracted. These efforts tend to not create much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. In other words, shallow work is the kind of work that doesn't require deep thought, can be done while multitasking, is often reactive rather than proactive, feels productive but lacks long-term impact. Examples include responding to emails, attending meetings with no clear agenda, posting on social media, updating spreadsheets. checking notifications. These tasks aren't inherently bad, but when they dominate your day, they crowd out the time and energy needed for deep, meaningful work. Brain why shallow work is so seductive. Shallow work is easy. It's fast. It gives instant feedback. You send an email and get a reply. You post something and get likes. You attend a meeting and feel involved. It's also socially rewarded. In many workplaces, being constantly available is seen as responsible. Responding quickly to messages is praised. Attending lots of meetings signals importance. But Newport warns, this culture of hyper-responsiveness is a trap. It creates the illusion of productivity while eroding our ability to concentrate, create, and innovate. Office building the modern workplace, designed for distraction. Newport critiques the structure of today's knowledge economy. He argues that most workplaces are unintentionally hostile to deep work. Here's why. 1. Open office designs. Intended to foster collaboration. In reality, they increase noise, interruptions, and stress. Workers are constantly exposed to visual and auditory distractions. 2. Always-on communication. Slack, Teams, email, and messaging apps create a culture of constant availability. Workers feel pressure to respond immediately. This fragments attention and prevents sustained focus. 3. Multitasking myth. Many believe they can juggle multiple tasks effectively. Research shows multitasking reduces performance and increases cognitive load. Switching between tasks creates attention residue. Your brain lingers on the previous task, reducing focus on the current one. For lack of clear metrics. Knowledge work is hard to measure. Managers often default to visible activity, emails sent, meetings attended, as proxies for productivity. This incentivizes shallow work over deep results. Mobile phone, the digital attention crisis. Beyond the workplace, Newport highlights a broader cultural shift, the rise of digital distraction. Social media's role. Platforms are designed to hijack attention. Infinite scroll, likes, and notifications create dopamine loops. Users become addicted to checking, reacting, and posting. The cost of constant connectivity. Every interruption, no matter how brief, breaks concentration. It takes 15 to 20 minutes to return to a deep state after a distraction. Frequent task switching leads to mental fatigue and reduced creativity. Newport argues that we've normalized distraction. We check our phones during meals, scroll during downtime, and respond to messages while working. This erodes our ability to tolerate boredom, a key ingredient for deep thinking. Puzzle piece the cultural shift, from depth to busyness. Newport identifies a troubling trend, busyness as a badge of honor. In many professional settings, being overwhelmed is seen as a sign of success. The culture of connectivity. Workers feel obligated to be online and responsive at all times. There's a fear of missing out or being perceived as disengaged. This leads to reactive workflows and shallow engagement. The metric black hole. We measure what's easy, hours worked, emails sent, meetings attended. We ignore what's hard to measure, insight, creativity, depth. This creates a feedback loop where shallow work is rewarded and deep work is neglected. Newport calls this the metric black hole, a place where meaningful output disappears because it's invisible to traditional metrics. Man in lotus position, the psychological toll. Shallow work doesn't just affect productivity, it affects well-being. Cognitive overload. Constant task switching leads to mental exhaustion. Workers feel busy but unfocused. Creativity suffers because the brain lacks space to wander and connect ideas. Emotional burnout. Shallow work lacks meaning. Workers feel disengaged and unfulfilled. The absence of flow leads to boredom and frustration. Identity crisis. Many professionals struggle to define what they actually do. Their days are filled with reactive tasks, not purposeful creation. This leads to a loss of professional identity and confidence. Newport argues that deep work is not just a skill, it's a source of meaning. Without it, we risk becoming cogs in a machine, disconnected from our own potential. Brain, the neuroscience of focus. Newport draws on cognitive science to explain why deep work matters. Attention residue. When you switch tasks, part of your attention stays stuck on the previous task. This reduces performance on the new task. Frequent switching creates a fragmented mind. Flow state. Deep work leads to flow, a state of intense focus and immersion. Flow is linked to happiness, creativity, and mastery. Shallow work prevents flow by interrupting concentration. Neuroplasticity. The brain adapts to how we use it. Constant distraction trains the brain to crave novelty. Deep work trains the brain to sustain attention and solve complex problems. In short, shallow work rewires your brain for superficiality. Deep work rewires it for excellence. Brain: why most people don't realize the problem. Newport suggests that many professionals are unaware of the shallow work trap because it feels productive. It's socially rewarded. It's easier than deep work. It's normalized by technology and culture. But the consequences are profound. Reduced innovation. Lower job satisfaction. Slower skill development. Missed opportunities for impact. The cost of shallow work for creators. For creators like you, Chinmoy, shallow work is especially dangerous. It can dilute your vision, fragment your energy, and reduce the quality of your output. Scriptwriting. Shallow work leads to rushed, generic scripts. Deep work allows for narrative depth, emotional resonance, and originality. Thumbnail design. Shallow design is reactive, based on trends and templates. Deep design is intentional, based on theme, emotion, and audience insight. Audience engagement. Shallow prompts get clicks. Deep prompts build community and reflection. Strategy. Shallow planning leads to burnout and inconsistency. Deep strategy builds a sustainable, impactful creative journey. Newport's message is clear. Creators who prioritize depth will stand out in a noisy world. The path forward. Newport doesn't just diagnose the problem, he offers a solution. The rest of deep work is devoted to cultivating focus, minimizing distraction, and building a life of depth. But it starts with awareness. You must recognize the shallow work trap before you can escape it. Ask yourself, how much of my day is spent on reactive tasks? When was the last time I worked deeply for 2+ hours? What distractions do I tolerate that erode my focus? What systems reward shallow work in my environment? These questions are the beginning of transformation. Final reflection. Depth is a choice. Shallow work is easy. It's everywhere. It's rewarded. But it's not fulfilling. It doesn't build mastery. It doesn't create legacy. Deep work is hard. It's rare. It's invisible. But it's transformative. Newport's challenge is simple but profound. Choose depth over distraction. Choose meaning over motion. Choose excellence over ease. In a world addicted to noise, your ability to go deep is your greatest advantage. For rules for cultivating deep work. 1. Work deeply. Ritualize your work. Set a specific time and place. Define how long you'll work and what you'll focus on. Make grand gestures. Drastic actions, e.g., J.K. Rowling renting a hotel to finish Harry Potter, can boost commitment. Embrace boredom. Train your brain to resist switching tasks. Practice doing nothing to build focus stamina. 2. Embrace boredom. Attention training. Schedule breaks from focus, not from distraction. Resist the urge to check your phone or email during downtime. Meditate productively. Use walking or idle time to mentally work through problems. 3. Quit social media. Selective use. Evaluate tools based on their net positive impact on your goals. Don't use platforms out of FOMO or habit. Craftsman approach. Adopt tools only if they significantly support your professional or personal values. 4. Drain the shallows. Time audit. Track how you spend your time. Identify and minimize shallow work. Schedule every minute. Use time blocking to plan your day. Leave room for flexibility, but avoid reactive work. Say no more often. Protect your time by declining low-value commitments. Philosophical foundations. The deep life. Newport encourages readers to build a life centered around depth, not just in work, but in relationships, learning, and purpose. Deep work is not just a productivity strategy. It's a path to meaning and mastery. Focus is a skill. Like physical fitness, deep focus requires training. The more you practice, the more natural and rewarding it becomes. Key takeaways for creators like you. Script writing. Block out distraction-free time to write scripts that resonate deeply. Use rituals to enter flow states. Thumbnail design. Treat visual design as deep work. Plan, iterate, and refine with full attention. Audience engagement. Build prompts and community features that encourage reflection and depth, not just clicks. Content strategy. Prioritize fewer, higher quality videos over frequent shallow uploads.